Breaking news. An entire nation's naval strike force, built over 30 years, rehearsed for decades, designed specifically for one moment, is gone, wiped off the board, not degraded, not damaged, gone. And the ship they tried to stop never changed course, not once, not even for a second. I'm your host, and what you are about to hear is exactly what happens when a regime mistakes a carrier strike group for a target. Hit like right now, and type Ford in the comments if you're watching from the very beginning. 71 minutes. That is all it took. In 71 minutes, the United States Navy absorbed the most coordinated, most layered naval attack Iran has ever attempted, killed every single threat in the water and in the air, then simultaneously erased 23 IRGCN military sites off the face of the earth, all before 8 a.m. And this is not a simulation. This is not a wargame scenario. This is what the Ford Carrier Strike Group was built to do. And today, Iran handed it the perfect reason to prove that. 6:47 in the morning. The Strait of Hormuz. 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. The sky above the Gulf is still carrying the gray edge of early dawn, flat, humid light that turns the surface of the water the color of brushed steel. The USS Gerald R. Ford is cutting through it at speed. Her flight deck is already populated. Her combat systems are already online. She is already watching everything around her. She does not look like something you challenge. She looks like something you get out of the way of. 1/5 of the world's oil supply moves through this corridor every single day. Tankers, LNG carriers, container ships. All of them pass through these 21 miles because there is no other route. The United States Navy has transited this water before, and before that, and decades before that. No government, no broadcast, no formal radio demand has ever changed that reality, not once. But this morning, Iran is not just issuing a warning, they are already moving. At exactly 6:47 a.m., the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, the IRGCN, broadcasts a formal radio transmission across multiple maritime frequencies. The message is direct. The Ford's strike group is ordered to reverse course, exit Iranian-designated exclusion waters, and stand down within 40 minutes or face consequences. The transmission is recorded, time-stamped, and received by the Ford's communications team 11 seconds after it goes out. The Ford does not reverse course. She was never going to reverse course. What the IRGCN does not know, what makes their plan dangerous to themselves rather than to the Ford, is that while that radio challenge is being transmitted, the Ford's AN/SPY-6 air and missile defense radar is already tracking everything Iran is moving. The most capable shipboard radar system ever put to sea, capable of tracking a baseball-sized object from 350 miles. It was watching before the broadcast finished. It never stopped, and Iran was already moving all of it. 41 IRGCN fast attack craft, organized into 5 separate swarm elements, are pushing out of Bandar Abbas at high speed. Behind them, shore-based Noor anti-ship missile batteries along the Iranian coastline come online simultaneously. Above them, 112 Shahed series armed drones lift off from 3 separate IRGCN air bases, not surveillance drones, not reconnaissance passes. Armed drones, each carrying a shaped charge warhead capable of damaging topside equipment on a destroyer-class hull. Iran's plan is layered by design. The fast boats are not meant to sink the Ford. They are meant to surround her, to compress the strike group into a close-range engagement where every radar track becomes a decision between fratricide and hesitation. The drone swarm fills the airspace above the fight, degrading the strike group's sensor picture and saturating the short-range defensive systems. And while the escorts are fighting boats and drones at near-zero range, the coastal Noor batteries fire their anti-ship salvos into a defensive envelope that is supposed to be too overwhelmed to respond. On paper, it is Iran's most sophisticated naval harassment operation ever executed. Type Paper Navy in the comments right now. because that is exactly what it turns out to be. 7:19 a.m. The Ford's Combat Information Centers are tracking all 5 fast boat swarm elements, all 112 drone contacts, and all 7 active NOR battery radar signatures simultaneously. Not some of them. All of them. Not one track is lost. Not one. The Growlers go first. EA-18G, Growler electronic warfare aircraft, already airborne on Combat Air Patrol Station before Iran fired a single engine, jammed the IRGCN drone command and control frequency so completely that 61 of the 112 drones lose guidance coherence within 90 seconds of entering the engagement envelope. They do not detonate. They do not acquire targets. They fly in circles, burning fuel, until they lose power and fall into the Gulf. 51 drones retain enough autonomous targeting logic to keep pressing. F/A-18F. Super Hornets tear into the swarm with AIM-9X sidewinders and gun runs, shredding the formation into fragments before it reaches the outer escort ring. Rolling airframe missiles, RAM launchers, on the escort destroyers and cruisers handle the remainder. The last armed drone is killed at 7:26 a.m. 7 minutes. The Ford's flight deck receives 0 impacts. Not one mark. The IRGCN fast attack craft close to within 6 nautical miles before the escort destroyers fully engage. Harpoon anti-ship missiles and 5-inch deck guns open fire on swarm elements that carry no missile defense, no electronic warfare suite, and no armor. These are speedboats with mounted weapons in a fight against precision-guided munitions, operating faster than any human crew can react. 33 of the 41 craft are destroyed or disabled in the surface engagement. 8 break off and run for home. They do not reach Bandar Abbas. MH-60R. Seahawk helicopters operating from the escort ships track them and complete the engagement before they get close. 7:24 a.m. The coastal NOR anti-ship batteries fire their salvos exactly when Iran planned, into a defensive picture that was supposed to be overwhelmed by fast boats and drone contacts at knife range. It is not overwhelmed. The SM-2 Standard missiles and SM-6 Extended Range Interceptors loaded in the Ford's Strike Group vertical launch system cells have been waiting for precisely this moment. 22 NOR anti-ship missiles, fired from 4 coastal battery sites, are tracked from the moment they leave their launchers. All 22 are intercepted before reaching terminal phase. Not one anti-ship missile touches an American hull. 0. Not one. At 7:31 a.m., 44 minutes after the IRGCN's radio challenge, the Ford's strike group is intact, fully combat effective, still transiting the Strait of Hormuz on the exact same heading she was holding when that broadcast came in at 6:47 a.m. The fast boats are gone. The drone swarm is gone. The NOR salvos are gone. The Ford did not stop. She did not slow down. She did not alter course by a single degree. Hit like right now if you are still watching, because this is where the video gets significantly larger. You are Petty Officer 2nd Class Marcus Delgado, Fire Controlman, assigned to the Combat Direction Center aboard USS Leyte Gulf, one of the Ford's escort cruisers. You grew up in San Antonio, Texas. 6 years in the Navy. You have a daughter named Sophia. She is 4 years old. 48 hours before this morning, she FaceTimed you to show you that she lost her very first tooth, holding it up to the camera with both hands, grinning around the gap. At 7:19 a.m., you are at your console, headset on, hand resting near the firing authority controls for your ship's SM-2 battery. You are staring at 112 inbound drone contacts filling your scope. You have never seen a scope that full in 6 years of active service. Your breathing is steady. Your training is running your body right now, not your fear. At 7:26 a.m., the scope clears. You do not say anything. You exhale once. You go back to watching. Marcus Delgado is going home to San Antonio. He is going to watch Sophia lose her second tooth and her third. and every one after that. Because every system, every platform, every man and woman in that strike group performed exactly as trained. The scope cleared. The threat ended. Everyone on that ship gets to go home. What Iran did not know, what Tehran's military planners had not accounted for, and could not have accounted for based on the intelligence picture available to them, is that the Ford strike group was not operating under standard rules of engagement that morning. It had been operating under a pre-authorized response package, classified, prepositioned, approved at the highest levels of the United States government, that formally classified any coordinated IRGCN attack on a U.S. Navy vessel as an act of war requiring an immediate and comprehensive response. Not proportional, comprehensive. The fast boats, the drones, and the shore batteries. That was Iran's tactical engagement. What comes next is the United States' strategic answer. The authorization to execute Operation Blunted Fist transmits at 7:33 a.m., 2 minutes after the last Noor missile is killed. The Ford does not pause. There is no press conference. The authorization goes out and 23 pre-selected targets move off the classified list and onto the live strike package. All of them selected before the Ford ever entered the strait. All of them preloaded. All of them already waiting for exactly this trigger. Iran pulled it. Bandar Abbas Naval Base, the IRGCN's largest facility on the Gulf, home port of the fast boat fleet that died in the water this morning, hub of 3 decades of Iranian naval construction. Targeted. Jask Naval Base, Iran's forward operating position, 8 years in construction. Built specifically to project IRGCN power past the Strait of Hormuz into open ocean. Targeted. 6 coastal Noor missile battery sites, not only the 4 that fired, but all 6, because the 2 that held back remain a threat until they no longer exist. Targeted. 4 IRGCN drone manufacturing and staging facilities, the production infrastructure that built, armed, and launched the 112 drones that failed this morning. Targeted. 3 command and control centers that coordinated the swarm, the boats, and the shore batteries as a single integrated attack package. Targeted. The IRGCN headquarters building in Bandar Abbas, the building that issued the radio challenge at 6:47 a.m., targeted. Tomahawk cruise missiles leave submarine launch tubes beneath the Gulf. F/A-18 E Super Hornets launch from the Ford's flight deck carrying JASSMER extended-range cruise missiles. B-52 Stratofortresses operating out of Diego Garcia, already airborne. He already pre-positioned on a standby mission before the Ford ever entered the strait, already holding updated targeting packages. Do not change course. They do not need to. At 7:58 a.m., 71 minutes after the IRGCN radio challenge, and 25 minutes after Operation Blunted Fist is authorized, all 23 targets are struck simultaneously. Bandar Abbas Naval Base receives multiple simultaneous JASSMER and Tomahawk impacts. The fast boat docking infrastructure, the fuel storage lines, the munitions depots, the maintenance yards, removed in a single coordinated strike window. Not neutralized, removed. Jask Naval Base, the facility Iran built to outlast American naval positioning in the region, is struck by B-52 delivered munitions before its air defense radar resolves what is inbound. 8 years of construction. Eliminated in under 60 seconds. All 6 coastal Noor battery sites are engaged at the same moment, denying any individual battery the ability to relocate, reorient, or fire a final salvo. Radar arrays, launcher vehicles, crew facilities, communications infrastructure, each site processed in the identical targeting sequence within the identical time window. The 4 drone manufacturing and staging facilities are struck with penetrating munitions designed to collapse production capacity beneath the surface. Iran cannot rebuild these lines quickly. It cannot replace this capacity in weeks or months. All three command and control centers go dark at 7:58 a.m. The IRGCN headquarters building in Bandar Abbas, the origin point of the 6:47 a.m. radio transmission, takes a direct tomahawk impact at 7:58 a.m. 23 seconds. Let's run the arithmetic, because it is clean and it is permanent. Iran committed 41 fast attack craft to this engagement. 0 returned to service. Iran launched 112 armed drones. 0 reached their target. Iran fired 22 Nor anti-ship missiles from 4 coastal batteries. 0 touched an American hull. Iran activated 6 coastal battery sites and 3 command and control centers as the backbone of its most coordinated naval strike ever assembled. 0 American ships hit. 0 American aircraft lost. 0 American sailors killed. Against that, 23 IRGCN military targets destroyed. The entire IRGCN naval presence in the Strait of Hormuz region, the fleet, the bases, the coastal batteries, the drone production lines, the command architecture, the headquarters, removed from the order of battle before 8 a.m., the global headline drops at 8:02 a.m. U.S. destroys 23 IRGCN military sites after Iran attacks Ford strike group in Strait of Hormuz. The Ford transits the Strait of Hormuz and enters the Persian Gulf at 8:17 a.m. She never stopped moving. She never deviated from her heading. She crossed the strait exactly the way the United States Navy crosses the strait, because that is what the United States Navy does. Every time, without exception. Here is what changes after this morning. Iran spent 30 years and an extraordinary amount of national resources building one thing. A naval force designed specifically to threaten the one body of water the global economy cannot function without. 30 years of fast attack boats, shore-based missile batteries, drone swarms, and denial doctrine. All of it constructed around a single premise. That harassment, saturation, and layered attack could force the United States to hesitate in the Strait of Hormuz. That premise no longer exists. Operation Blunted Fist was not improvised under fire. It was not a reaction born from anger or escalation panic. It was pre-planned, pre-authorized, and pre-positioned before the Ford's bow wave touched the entrance of the strait. The strike group did not escalate because it was provoked. It executed a preloaded strategic response to a predefined trigger condition. The decision was already made. The authorization was already written. Iran's attack simply activated it. This is what deterrence with actual teeth looks like. Not a warning shot. Not a proportional tap on the shoulder. A comprehensive, simultaneous, permanent answer delivered in 71 minutes. One that does not leave the threat damaged and resting. It leaves the threat gone. Speed is deterrence. Finality is doctrine. Those are not just talking points. This morning, they are the record. Now, I want to hear from you. Was it justified, or did the United States go too far? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I want to know exactly where you stand on this. If you believe the Ford's strike group did precisely what it was built and authorized to do, type blunted fist below. If you think 71 minutes and 23 simultaneous targets crossed a line, tell me why. This comment section is yours. Hit like if this breakdown hit different for you. Subscribe so the next one reaches you the moment it drops. Because the Persian Gulf is not quiet tonight. And neither is this channel. I'm your host, and that, right there, was the single biggest mistake Iran ever made in the Strait of Hormuz.